This is an easy recipe to make baguettes. It just takes a little time. You're going to start with 5.5 cups of bread flour and 2 teaspoons of salt. Next, get 2.5 cups of warm water and half a teaspoon of yeast. After about 30 seconds, it should start to bubble up and get a murky color. If it doesn't do this, just get new water because your bread will not rise. Then just mix it together until all of the flour is incorporated into the dough. You could use a wooden spoon, or the easiest thing is probably just using your hand. Cover it with a damp paper towel and let it sit for about 3.5 hours. After 3.5 hours, you're going to tip the bowl upside down and let it fall out. Use some water on your hands to keep the dough from sticking. So roll out the dough, cut it in half, and then cut the halves in half. Then you're going to want to roll the sides back until the top part gets nice and smooth. Fold it back and pinch the whole back and create a nice seal on the bottom. Place them each into a bowl. I use pasta dishes that are ungreased. Put some olive oil on a piece of plastic wrap and then cover that and let it sit for another 1.5 to 2 hours. Then you're going to hang it upside down to let it come out again. You're going to want to stretch it out into an approximate rectangle and then roll it up and seal the top. Then I just roll it back and forth to get a nice consistent round shape. You don't need a ton of flour, so you can usually just spread out the flour that's already on the counter. Then you're going to need some type of cloth. I use a pillowcase. You could also use a shirt. And put some flour into a container. Put the pillowcase in there and then just shake it around. Then put the bread on there one at a time. And you want to make sure to get some of the pillowcase between each loaf. And you want to press them each against each other, that way they rise straight upward. Cover it with the same damp paper towel and let it sit for about 20 minutes. This is usually when I preheat my oven to 450 degrees. You want steam in the oven as well, so fill a pan after about 20 minutes, and while the oven is heating up, you want to move the bread over to the top of the oven and let it sit for an additional 20 to 30 minutes to proof the bread. Grease a pan, and you want to pick the bread up from the sides and go inward to the middle, and you should actually be able to transfer them pretty easily with your hands. Put some nice fancy slices on the top of the bread. Put them in for 8 to 10 minutes. You can spray to create a little steam. Spin them around, and you're going to cook them an additional 8 to 10 minutes. And when you do this, you could spray again to create a little bit more steam. Just don't spray directly onto the bread. Transfer them to a cooling rack, and there you go. You just made homemade bread. Let me know how yours turn out.